Hello everyone, it's the Canadian Futures Trader here. Welcome to the channel and welcome to the video.
Gotta get more followers.
Everyone, this is going to be day number 2 of my Apex Trader funding 300k for May 2022, looking at another account to the stable. By popular demand in the poll I did, most of you, this was the account you wanted to see. Don't worry, I have a hunch there's going to be other ones from other companies in the somewhat near future as well. But guys, this is day number 2. If you recall, day number 1 was a nice winner with just over $5,000. I forgot to show you my balance at the end, but I do show you at the end of this video. So today I did do 2 trades. I'll tell you up front, it was a profitable day, but I'm also going to tell you up front, I wasn't really happy with either of the 2 trades and the way that I managed them. So I'm okay with the logic of how I got in, where I got in, all of that, but then managing the stop and the take profit, feel like I could have did a little bit better job, but we're going to get to all of that. So everyone, this trade took about 10 minutes from start to finish. I'll try to cut out any dead space where not much is happening just to tidy up the video a bit. The setup for this one, as well as the second trade that I take, is somewhat similar to yesterday's trade. I'm looking for a break low. It had been in a range here, a little bit bigger range than yesterday. If you remember, yesterday it was in a really tight range. So you have the 30 years on the left, the 10s in the middle, the Ultra Bond on the right. Of course, as always, trading the Ultra Bond, but using kind of the 10 years as my indicator. I hate to use that word, but what I'm looking at to help me manage the trade. So was really looking, so this right here down kind of at the bottom, you can see on the Ultra Bond 158.20 is the low of the day. Only 19 contracts traded. So I'm looking for this to essentially catch up to the 10 years here, which I expect to continue to push towards down. It's not like the best example of this. Again, I fully admit both these trades today aren't the best of anything, but they're trades nonetheless. So let's go ahead and play this, and I will explain as it plays. So I think what I was pointing, if you see the white arrow, that's my arrow at the time I'm trading. The black arrow is my arrow now that I'm recording the voiceover. We're seeing the push down on the 10 years. It's going to be a similar story to yesterday. I'm looking to go short for 10 contracts to start, see if we can get filled. And then I think, looks like I'm getting ready to add some more. So we're short 10, and I think here, pretty shortly I get in for some more. I was kind of holding off, a little bit hesitant, just because we weren't seeing as much activity as I was kind of expecting over here on the 10 years. So I was deciding, do I really want to add on to this position? So for now, we're just holding out with the 10. I haven't put a stop or anything like that on. Really kind of waiting to see if we can get this continued push down here. If there's some indication of life, we'll take it. There, I at least put the stop on. And there we finally, it took a minute or two there. We finally got some contracts to trade at a price down. As well, buyers came back and hit it a little bit, not in too much force. There they hit it with a lot of force. And you notice there's some more reload sellers here. So feeling pretty good about it at this point. I'm still only short the 10 contracts. I know I do add on here at some point. Definitely a slowdown. So if I mentioned there was a few things about this trade that I didn't like, leading up to this, there'd been some more dramatic movement, I would say. So unfortunately, when I entered, it's kind of about the time it kind of came to a bit of a halt. But luckily, that's in part why I only went short originally the 10 contracts. So if it did come against us, hey, we're only short 10 contracts, not 30 or 35. So I'm looking here to get short 10 more contracts. So I went ahead and canceled my stop loss just because I'm planning on adding some more here. And I want to set it up for the full amount. So I got filled there on the additional contracts. It all kind of happened pretty quick. So now we're short 30 contracts. And our average price is kind of right in between here, but we're currently in the good. So I set 2 take profits. Again, so my goal in general each day is to make approximately $5,000. If we can, do this in 4 days, I think that's fantastic. Again, I explained it a lot in day 1, the importance of having take profits because of that trailing drawdown. If it goes really far in your favor, but then comes back all the way against you, you're really screwing yourself on the trailing drawdown. Now, back over here to the 10 years, we did see some movement down, so it's still just kind of hanging out down. There's obviously not a lot trading. So you might say, why split it up between 15 and 15 on the take profits? Honestly, no real No real reason other than if it did, because there's not a lot of activity. If it did come down and manage to hit the first one but not the second one, at least we've captured like a nice chunk of the profit. And then we can work with the remaining 15 that are still on. If this was coming down with a bit more force, I probably would have just put all 30 at the price of 2.3. But because it's moving pretty slow, I just want to, if it taps here, I'm happy to take out at least half the position here. Not something I normally do, and honestly, it's not like the best logic, but it's what I did in this trade. So at this point, I've moved my stop loss to here. It's not quite break even. I think this was like minus 300 or something, but not too bad. Again, gonna run the pretty tight stop on this. It's not automatically trailing. I mean, I sometimes will use those. But this trade I did not. I'm just manually managing it. And a trade like this, I would prefer to just kind of manually manage the trailing stop, honestly. Sometimes I'll use the automatic trail. One, if I just want to be lazy and just make sure that I actually trail it and not have to think about it. Sometimes, if you're watching over here, something happens over here, it might, take a few seconds before you even notice it. So at least with a automatic trailing stop, you would at least be kind of managing this automatically, obviously, but not today. So as you can tell, I mean, this has been super slow. I mean, 6 minutes. I consider that a pretty long trade for the treasuries, usually looking to get in and out, or at least look for a little bit more activity to be happening. And it's really not. So this is one where, this is kind of be the first place. I really kind of wish I'd move my stop at least down one more tick. Like, let's at least make sure that we lock this in. Again, there's really not a lot of activity, so I'm not too worried that this is just going to about face and come flying back on me. So I really could have ran the stop a little bit closer. It looks like I'm getting ready to move it here, and I did. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Sometimes I forget what I did after the fact. So now here's where things start to get, where I wish I'd done a slightly better job. So at this point, I mean, we have our stop at 600 in profit. The price is here. We've had a nice slow walk down here. So I'm feeling all right that this is going to keep moving its way down. And you see, even it hits here one price above. It even clears that out. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, let's just get a few contracts traded down here. But I'm going to ruin the surprise. It never does. It never does actually come down and hit either of these stops. It starts to move against me. And that's where I wish I'd managed this a little bit better. Wish I'd moved my stop at least one tick closer. Again, I like to give it some space, but on the flip side, there's not a lot of dramatic movement today, so I feel like I would have been a little bit happier if I'd taken this. And when the point comes, you'll see I don't let it just run right back on me and take me out here. I actually do get out for about 1,200 in profit. I end up selling some at one price, some at another. Also, when I entered the trade, I entered at two different prices. So, these are just kind of averaging out what your profit is on the entire position. But in reality, first in, first out, when you execute the trades, it ended up netting $1,200. So what you'll see here shortly, and we're getting close to the end here. So that was just a mistake where I did that. So I was just trying to cancel those two. At this point, I said, okay, I don't think it's... So I'm going to pause the video for a second real quick. So what I did there was I canceled both my take profits. It obviously wasn't popping down. Just to clean up the screen, if anything, like, let's get rid of these. I did click really quick there, and I bought back 5 contracts already, because you can see my position down here in Jigsaw went from 30 to 25. Rather than let it come all the way back, like I said, and hit this, I wanted to try to take some off at a little bit more profit. Jigsaw sometimes freaks out if you try to just move your stop loss to the current price it's trading at. It won't let you, but you can manually get yourself out and just hit these. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, and it probably looks kind of messy and you can't really tell, but I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to let this play. I'm guessing I'm going to cancel this stop loss at this point because I really don't want a 30 stop loss. So that's what I do. So now I'm just trying to grab the best price I possibly can. Let's see if we can get 25 cleared out at these prices. I'm also hovering my mouse. I'm just looking. I'm like, okay, if this starts moving against me, we need to get out of this pretty quick. Sure, I could have reestablished the stop loss here, but I didn't. Again, not the best managed trade, but it was what it was. So here, I'm really hoping to get these 10 at this price. Contracts are trading here. I'm right in the queue. I'm going to pause again really quick. So I had 10 and 15. I actually ended up canceling the 15 there. So we still have 25 contracts on. Just at this point, it's starting to move a little bit more against me. And I really I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to get out for the best price possible. I don't want to just hit flat and have it give me some wacky price up here, but I also don't want to like try to get too picky, if that all makes sense. I'm basically doing the best I can in the moment. So I put 5 on there. We get filled for 2, and then so that got filled, and then the 10 that was there got filled, and so we still have 10 left to take care of. So again, here I'm trying to get it. I put 5 and 5, and as soon as I do that, it's moving against me. So again, just trying to manage the position. Trying to get the best price I can, but not let it get too out of control. At this point, I honestly can't tell you where I'm at profit-wise. I'm going to pause it again really quick. I had 5 and 5. I ended up clearing out the 5 and just adding it on here. You know, if we can just get out here, this would still be $300 here. And immediately pops against me, so I did something interesting there. I'm going to back up. It happened super quick. Well, I don't know that I'd call it interesting. I made a mistake. So this happens in about 2 seconds. So I have this paused right now. I have my 10 limit order that I just put on, and it immediately moved against me. You know, the second I put this on, it popped 2 ticks above me. So now I'm starting to be like, okay, we just need out of this trade. So to recap, I'm still short 10 contracts. I'm trying to get out here for a slight profit. It moves against me. At this point, I'm like, okay, it's time just to get out. So what I end up doing is just hitting buy up here. I end up clicking 3 times instead of 2. So not only do I clear out the 2 contracts that I'm short, I also end up switching and going long for 5 contracts. Now I end up getting out of that position pretty quick. I think I might even make a tick on that. So let me let this play. So right here, you're going to see me just hit this for 15. You saw that really quick. It got filled immediately, and then exactly what happened, I ended up going long for 5. Just one of those things. Again, not the best managed trade, but I mean, all in all, not like it ruined our accounts or anything. So I'll just let this play. It's only a few more seconds. I immediately realize I'm long. I don't want to like stick around and see if that works out. So I end up getting a tick on that trade on the going long 5. So all in all, that worked out for $1,200. It worked out for profit, but obviously there was a lot more profit that I could have captured early on when the price was trading down here at 43. We could have just gotten out there and not been greedy. Not the best trade. Guys, let's move on to trade number 2. All right, everyone. So for the second trade, we actually do hit our take profit in this one. So that works out. But again, like I mentioned, I'm not the happiest with it, and I will show you why when we get to that point. So it's the same story on the trade setup. At this point, you see the 10 years are at their lows. This was about, I want to say it was about an hour and a half after the first trade that I showed you guys. So, but same story. They, impress their lows. They come back up. They, do the usual thing. So this time the 10 years are right at their low. And the Ultra Bond had already had a little bit of a surge down. I actually missed one of the moves. I was hoping to actually get in at a price up here. I didn't. Normally not a fan of chasing, but since we're right at the lows here and we're keeping on going, I kind of wanted to jump in on this moving train, so that's what I do. So I immediately put the order to go short for 20, and I think I quickly ramp it up to the full 35. So we got filled for 10 already. I did, okay, so I did 15 here. I didn't want to let it run against me, or not run against me, run away from me again, where I could have made profit. So I left my 20 up here, hoping it kind of backticks and we get filled there. But I did want to be in for at least the 15, even though I got not the best price. So again, kind of going against some of my things that I say. Normally I wouldn't be chasing the price, but this was one where was really thinking we could get one of those catch-up type of trades that I've heard about. So we never did get filled for the 20 up here, so we're only short 15 right now. And again, it's starting to move away from us favorably, but really would have liked to have been short the entire 35. And again, it had started up here somewhere where I really wanted to get in. So we would have actually, been pretty close to our profit target at that point if we'd gotten in originally. Just sometimes you don't always know that it's going to do what it's going to do. So we're finally short the entire 35. I put in my stop loss. I'm happy about that. It's, 4 ticks away essentially. Break even is somewhere in between these two prices. Obviously, we got in at a couple different price levels. So I did what I kind of did in the first trade where I set two different take profits. Again, same theory, you know, if it can get down here to its low, at least we clear out some of our profit and then hopefully breaks through, we get the rest. I mentioned, so I wasn't super happy with this trade, and part of what that is has to do again with the stop loss. You know, it's a pretty big number to eat it on. Really wish I had ran it a little bit closer, but you'll see that if I had, I would have been taken out of the trade. So there's definitely a luck factor here. We got a little bit lucky with this trade, and that comes up here shortly. But essentially what will happen is the price does run against us, but doesn't quite come up to this price level. If I'd moved my stop down here, would have gotten taken out. So works out for us, having a little bit more of a generous stop, but normally, you know, that's not the case. Normally, the bigger the stop, if it goes that far against you, you're just going to end up eating a bunch. Okay, guys, I've kind of paused it here, and I fast forward just a little bit because it really just hung out around these price levels for a few minutes. So this is the point here, I'm going to play it in a second, where it does come up and it trades right at this price, right below my stop. So we get fortunate. And that's where it's kind of a love-hate on this one. If I had set my stop a little bit more conservative, which I would endorse, I would have got taken out of the trade and eaten, you know, a $2,800 loss. I got lucky. It didn't trade at that price. So we end up actually, you'll see, comes down and we actually hit our take profits. So even though it's kind of weird to say the right move would have been to be a little bit tighter on the stop, even though that means we would have ate the loss, I feel like in the long term, you know, trade after trade, that would have been the right play, you know, but nonetheless, it is what it is. It plays out how it plays out. We get a little bit fortunate. So again, I'm not saying these were fantastic trades in any way. I'm just sharing them with you. So there you go. You see some contracts trade there, and I mean, it emptied out. Just no contracts trade at this price level. And we quickly get ourselves back. I mean, still, this isn't like looking the most favorable for us. But now we're starting to feel a little bit better about it. They're moving it back down. So we got lucky. I've already said that. We got lucky here. It didn't tick up here. So from there on out, it's pretty smooth sailing. I mean, it takes obviously a couple more minutes to work its way down. The other thing, I haven't talked as much about it over here, but still, I mean, we're not seeing a ton of activity. It was definitely still another slow day, but it's still hanging out right at its lows, the 10 years when I say they. So feeling pretty good. If I want to say something good about this, I'm feeling great about where these take profits are, right at the low and one tick below the low. I really feel like if we can get this one, we can get this one. Yes, you can make the argument I could have just put the full 35 here if I actually believe that. But like I said, I'd rather it, you know, we got lucky up here on just one tick away. You know, maybe down here we need that extra one tick to grab some profit. So it actually happens pretty quick when it happens. It just rips right through, and we get filled on everything pretty much immediately at once. So I fast forward just like 30 seconds there just to jump to the fun part. Again, trading right here, starting to trade here. Now I'm starting to move the stop. First time you see me move the stop in this trade. Again, not a highlight reel. This is definitely one that would be on the floor. Cut from the CFT highlight reel. And there we go. It traded down and even popped down one tick below, I believe. So that's it, guys. So that one we got filled. And actually, let me zip ahead. So here's where I brought up my screen. Let me get this out of the way. I have it kind of condensed just to hide my other accounts. Obviously, I'm logged into my personal account as well. But here's the Apex evaluation. You can see today was a $5,400 day. And in total, we're at 311. So, you know, just past halfway to the goal of 20,000 for day 2. Pretty happy with that. So day number 3, of course, plan stays the same. We'll see what the market gives us, but I like to shoot for about 5,000. Seems like a pretty reasonable amount to shoot for. Trading, you know, pretty much the full clip or the full clip on the Ultra Bond. Get ourselves some ticks, and we are good to go. So again, I mentioned yesterday, and I'll mention it again on the trailing stop. That's really the important part there on setting those take profits. That first trade, that's another thing where it could have screwed me if, you know, I'd let it come way back against me. And that's part of why I canceled my stop and tried to at least just capture some of the profit. I mean, besides just trying to capture profit for profit's sake, 2, not letting it move too far back against me where it's kind of eating into that trailing drawdown. So, and then this trade didn't hurt us whatsoever because where it got to, you know, we took the full profit amount. So that is it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Tune in for tomorrow. Day number 3 of Apex Trader Funding 300K. Be sure to hit subscribe and be sure to check out Apex if you are so inclined. Link down below and the 50% off code down below. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.